All right, joining me now is CNN senior political analyst Ron Brownstein. He's written a CNN analysis about the messaging from Democrats against the president, including his threats to send National Guard troops to more U.S. cities. It's titled, "This One Word Captures the Most Important Division Among Democrats." And not to spoil too much, but that word is distraction. So tell us more what you mean about that one important word, Ron.
Yeah, good morning and happy.
Oh, Ron, can you hear us? We may have a connection issue. All right, we'll try to. Okay, we're going to go to break. Hopefully, we'll reconnect. And he's back, I'm told now. All right.
Here I am.
It's very early there.
Hey,
I know we're just working things out on this Monday morning. Okay, Ron, tell us about this all-important word before we lose you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the one word is distraction. When the Democratic congressional leaders like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries criticize Trump's actions in terms of threatening democracy or deploying troops to U.S. cities, they almost invariably, Bianna, describe it as a distraction from something else, whether it's Epstein, Medicaid cuts, inflation. That infuriates a whole other camp of Democrats who believe that the deployment of troops to U.S. cities, the other steps Trump has taken to kind of corrode the foundations of democratic safeguards in the U.S. aren't a distraction. They are the central front of his second term. And J.B. Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, I think, would be the leaders in that camp. And it really is a divide. Do you want to run against Trump fundamentally on the price of eggs? Or do you want to focus the public on the things that he is doing that very much depart from our tradition? You know, the idea of armored troops in multiple American cities, whatever the justification, whether it's justified on the grounds of immigration enforcement or crime, that is fundamentally alien from the American tradition. I mean, we have not seen troops in U.S. cities except at the moments of greatest civil disorder. We have a Posse Comitatus Act from the 19th century, which theoretically on paper bars the use of troops for domestic law enforcement. This is really an image that is more in common with authoritarian countries of troops in the streets of the biggest cities. And so this is a very significant departure from the way the military has existed throughout our history. You have one group of Democrats who believe that is a fundamental issue facing us, another one that wants to talk primarily about Medicaid and tax cuts. And
at this point, it's not hypotheticals or threats. We've seen this actually happen in cities like Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and now it appears to be heading for Chicago as well. Secretary Noem saying that ICE resources are going to be deployed to that city with broader expansions, quote, on the table. So politically, what is the playbook here for the administration, Ron? And Chicago being the case study, as Whitney reported, they're planning for this to look a lot like what we saw in the streets of Los Angeles where you are right now.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, it's important to understand that the administration has been claiming in court the authority to do this everywhere and anywhere. That original executive order that authorized the deployment of the National Guard to L.A. Did not specify L.A. or California. It said that the president would be justified to take control of the National Guard anywhere where there are protests against immigration enforcement or where protests could reasonably be expected to develop. And simultaneously in court in California, they are arguing that the Posse Comitatus Act, which is the 19th century law barring the use of the military for domestic law enforcement, essentially is toothless. Courts cannot order any remedy. The only remedy is a criminal prosecution. A court cannot require the administration not to deploy troops. So they are basically saying they can do this wherever they want. We'll see whether the courts agree. Now, I think the fundamental issue here is, what is this about? Is this fundamentally about fighting crime, or is it about numbing Americans to an image that, as I said, is alien to our history and much more common in authoritarian countries of troops in the streets of our big cities? Voters trust Trump more than Democrats on crime. Whether they are willing to see troops patrolling the streets of multiple American cities, setting up checkpoints that people have to go through, as they have had at points in D.C., I think that is a very different political question.
Well, quickly, Governor Pritzker says this is part of Trump's plan to stop the election, the midterms in 2026, or, quote, to frankly take control of those elections. Do you think he's right?
I think they are, as I said, numbing America into the image of troops in the streets of cities, something that is completely alien to our history, except at the moments of greatest, threat, like major civil disorder. The last time, to do this, Bianna, he will have to federalize the National Guard over the objection of the governor of Illinois, just as he did in California. We haven't seen that since the heyday of the civil rights era, when Southern segregationists were actively impeding the enforcement of federal law. And I think once you make that a routine reflex, anything is on the table and possible.
That's right, because historically it's always been the governors that have requested the National Guard if need be. Not the case now, that's for sure. Ron Brownstein, thank you so much.